Hey, greetings, everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West here, and welcome to the Steadfast and Loyal podcast.
You gotta light 'em up before they burn it down. Better dig deep, put 'em in the ground. Blood on their hands, they're hellbound. Save us all. Ooh, they're gonna burn it down. Save us all before they burn it down.
This episode of the Steadfast and Loyal podcast is brought to us by our dear friends at the United States Concealed Carry Association. The United States CCA helps responsible Americans like you prepare for what happens before, during, and after an active act of lawful self-defense. USCCA members get life-saving education, expert training, plus self-defense liability insurance. Plus, a USCCA membership is always risk-free with their 100% money-back bulletproof guarantee. Membership is truly an investment worth exploring. Click Learn More below right now to activate your U.S. Concealed Carry Association membership. Click Learn More right now. And also, one of the benefits of being a member, you get their monthly Concealed Carry magazine. And as a reminder, the United States Concealed Carry Association is not an insurance company. A policy has been issued to the USCCA by Universal Fire and Casualty Insurance Company. That policy provides the association and its members with self-defense liability insurance subject to its terms, conditions, limitations, and exclusions. Hey, greetings, everyone. Welcome back to the Steadfast and Loyal podcast. And if you know, one of the things I've always talked about is veterans getting involved in electoral politics, running for elected office. One of the things that I started when I was up in Congress was something called the Guardian Fund PAC, which really worked to get more conservative and veterans there at the federal level in the Senate and the House. But I think also we need to start looking at local levels, being at city councils, school boards, county commissions, and definitely down at the state house level. So we're going to have a great interview with someone that many of you may know, and that is John Tig, call sign Tiegen. And if you remember, he was a CIA security contractor, and it goes back to that incredible story that came out of Benghazi, Libya, when 4 CIA contractors protected that mission that was there against Islamic jihadists. And of course, it was made into an incredible movie. So John Tig Tiegen is running for mayor in the city of Colorado Springs, Colorado, near and dear to my heart, because that's where the 4th Infantry Division is headquartered at Fort Carson, and you know I served there. So, John, welcome to the Steadfast and Loyal podcast. Good to be with you.
Hey, I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
So what inspired you to pick up the mantle and run for mayor of Colorado Springs, Colorado?
I don't know if anything can really inspire you, but no, it was a lot of it had to do with the COVID mandates. Where you have a strong mayor, we're home rule, and it just felt like our local government was controlling us, and we weren't controlling them. Just them using the health department as a police force, using the liquor license as blackmail, forcing masks on kids. Our kids are suffered a lot. Generations are still going to be affected. I mean, what my kid definitely affected him quite a bit in school. So he's still trying to catch up on a lot of stuff. So it just showed me that the government was controlling us. We weren't controlling them. Our mayor should have stepped up and did a lot more to ensure that the community was free to choose what we wanted to do, not what the government wanted us to do.
Yeah, and so I was reading that the actual mayor is term limited out, so this is an open seat. Quite a few folks in that race for being mayor, some of them city council members, some of them already involved in politics. What advantage do you think you have? And, wanting to protect your son and our children, that is an inspiration to run, so you have to be commended for that. So what are some of the things you think can leverage you or give you an advantage over people who have, been in politics and have held political office?
Yeah, I think I'm more at a disadvantage because I have never ran for political
Don't
office.
say that.
But one,
Don't say that.
but one thing that I bring to the table is better, honestly, better leadership, and that's what we need. We need more of a leadership than a politician. So, me not knowing the ins and outs and how to maneuver things and run things. Yeah, I mean it's going to hurt a little bit, but again, OJT, on the job training, is where a lot of it's going to come from. But as a leader, I've been doing it since the military days and even before that. And because you have 23 department heads underneath you as a mayor, so if the mayor need to be the smartest person in the city, know how to do everything, run everything, why do we need 23 department heads? It's To me, it's the leadership that's going to guide me into making sure that the guys that are hired to do the job are doing what they're supposed to be doing, not doing what they want to do, and ensuring that, I'm not going to be bought. I'm not going to bend over backwards for anybody. I'm going to do what's right for the community, going into the community and actually talking with them like I have been, even during the COVID shutdowns, and actually going out into the community and supporting the community directly, and not just doing it behind a desk like a lot of these politicians do. I get out front, and that's how you lead. You don't just sit back and let other people do it. You get out front and you stand in front of everybody and you take the blows. You don't allow the community to do it. And when we went out, we were doing things for the community. Law enforcement, as a majority of them or keep thanking me for, what my organization did during the COVID stuff, during the riots, and just trying to help the community as much as we could versus just doing it on paper.
Well, when you talk about being at a disadvantage, I mean, I ran for United States Congress and had never held any type of political office, so I don't see it as a disadvantage. I see it as a clear advantage because more people are looking for leadership. They're looking for statesmen. They're not looking for politicians. And the great thing about, the training and our expertise in the military is that we understand task and purpose. We understand commanders' guidance and how to not micromanage and allow people to do their jobs within the left and right limits that we're given to them. So speaking of which, what are some of the critical issues there in Colorado Springs, Colorado? It's a beautiful city. Been there several times. What are some of let's say the top 3 issues that are facing you there?
I would say number one is going to be safety of the community. Our crime has just been skyrocketing. We got law enforcement, they're leaving by the dozens every year. And right now we're 70 short. And as we expand, by the time we get those 70, we're probably going to need another 100 more. So I think we're more like 200 officers short. And that's the number one thing we have to get under control. And again, being a leader, you stand up for them, you back them up. Even, if they do something wrong, you stand up and you stand up for them, but you're not covering for them. If they truly did something wrong, you still got to stand next to them through the process. And, if they go to jail, they go to jail, unfortunately. But just to back away, say, whoa, hands off because he did something wrong. That's not a good leader. And for us to gain that recruitment that we need here in Colorado Springs, even across the nation, I think people need to start doing it. Elected officials need to start standing up because otherwise crime's just going to get worse. And the second thing is homelessness, having a true path to success, not just a Band-Aid, not just, okay, let's just move them over here today. Let's put them in this shelter here today. You have to have a complete process from getting them off the street to getting to, permanent living. And to me, the city doesn't need to do it. It goes back to the foundations and the churches. There's almost 4,000 nonprofits here in Colorado Springs, and their budget is anywhere between $5 to $15 billion a year. So the money's there. It's just a matter of getting these organizations to come together, work together, and truly put their money where their mouth is and support the community and help this homelessness. And the other is the infrastructure. A lot of the money that we raise taxes for, it's not there. I mean, our roads are horrible. I know you probably haven't been here in a while, but I lived on a dirt road that had better roads than our paved roads. And so, I think we need to do a major audit to figure out where the money's going. Every city, every elected official, every department head needs to be audited every single year to ensure everybody's on the up and up, and we don't have just fluff going around and just favoritism going around. We have one builder in this city that owns 80% of the undeveloped property, which to me is not a very good thing to have because they're just monopolizing and causing the increase of property. So it's not good what's going on right now.
You also have a major interstate, if I'm correct, I-25 that comes up through
Yep.
Colorado Springs, of course, heads up into Denver. Are you seeing an issue with the flow of drugs and, of course, illegal immigrants coming into Colorado Springs?
Drugs is definitely it's been a problem for a long time here. Legalizing marijuana, it didn't really help the community
Hmm.
very much. Well, at least the medical side. The city of Colorado Springs didn't legalize actual marijuana, just the medical side. But the outer cities just right next door, right across the street, they legalized it. So we're still getting some of that. That didn't it didn't decrease anything on the black market. It actually increased the cost or increased the black market. I haven't seen there is a little bit of an illegal immigrant issue going on here. I would say more human
Yeah.
trafficking going on than anything else. And, we got to tackle that. And we got to definitely fix our roads. I think we're going to have to figure out, more of a 10, 20-year plan of probably putting another highway in, maybe a double decker on I-25 for that traffic that just wants to flow through, so it helps our community as a whole and reduces the rush hour traffic.
Yeah, without a doubt, because you think about Fort Carson there, you think about the Air Force Academy there, you think about, I think it's Peterson Air Force Base that
Yep,
is there,
Schriever.
NORAD is there. I mean, this is a very strategic city that you are looking to become the mayor of. How is your relationship? You served in the United States Marine Corps. How is your relationship there with the veteran community and also with the military community?
I honestly, with my nonprofit, I think it's really strong. We've done a lot of fundraisers, even just at my house. We invite active duty and veterans and first responders out there, and it's right next to Fort Carson, so we get a lot of the fires that they start rip through our neighborhood. But I think it's fairly strong, especially within the veteran and active duty community out here. So yeah, I think it's going to be a positive thing, but I can't rely on their votes because a lot of them, again, they're not registered
Yeah.
here because they're registered in their home state. But working with the military, it's going to be number one because there's 5 military bases around here,
Hmm.
just like you were saying. Then you got the Space Force. They're out here, so
Wow.
it's just
Yeah.
weird saying that.
Yeah, it is. I'm
um,
still trying to. I go back and remember, Space Force, and I forget the cartoon when I was a kid. It's,
yep.
so. But let me ask you, when is your election coming up?
It's April 4th. It
Oh,
came up fast.
yeah,
And, again, some of these guys that have been on the ballot for over a year already,
yeah,
and I've been on it for about a month and a half
yeah.
running. So, and I still got some pretty good traction. We still got a lot of debates going on, which I actually thought would be. I don't even know. They're not really debates. You got 1 minute to answer questions, and I thought it'd be a lot harder, honestly. Um, but without a lot of department heads talking to us, and me and a couple of the candidates are running, they won't talk. They won't have meetings with us, so it's hard to really come up with really what's going on within the city and how to help fix it. But just bringing fresh ideas into the mix, where a lot of these politicians, it's always the same thing, and especially the ones that have been around here since I was in junior high school.
Wow.
And they're still dealing with the same issues when I was in junior high we are now. It's like, how come this stuff wasn't fixed or going fixed? How come there's not a long-term plan, especially with the energy? They shut down one of our power plants and the energy cost is skyrocketing
Yeah.
without having a plan to replace it. We can't rely on green energy because look what happened down in
Oh
Texas
yeah,
when everything
without a
froze
doubt.
up.
Absolutely. That
So,
is the most unreliable source of energy. And we
yep,
saw that, if you're going to have a source of energy, it has to be reliable in, hard conditions. You can't go down in the winter and, of course, in the summer when people
yep.
are expecting it. So, how can people follow you? How can people hear from the Steadfast and Law podcast, support you? What's your website?
It's tigformayor.com. Made it as simple as possible. I'm on. I finally got back in social media after being booted off and banned, pretty much. So I'm back on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm on Tig for Mayor. They still won't really let me on and do anything under John Tig Tiegen. And I'm on Truth Social. But all those platforms you can find me as John Tig Tiegen. That's easiest way to follow me and support me.
Well, I got to tell you, you're a hometown boy that is trying to make right for your city there. Without a doubt, people that know your story, you are a person that has the right type of courage and will, resolve, and determination to stand up and do what's right. So I think that you would be a good person to be in a leadership role there in Colorado Springs. And once again, it's so important to have more veterans who have been willing to make the ultimate sacrifice in the last full measure of devotion to get into this thing that is called politics and restore leadership. And as you and I know, leadership is by example, and leaders always take responsibility. They don't take credit.
Yeah, that is true. That's what a leader is.
So thanks so much, John. Tig Tiegen, or is it Tiegen?
Tiegen.
Tiegen. See, I mean,
I know it's that call sign that does it.
I know it just knocks it out. And plus, I got a Southern accent, so we'll butcher your name anyhow. So, thank you so much for being with us on the Steadfast and Loyal podcast, and we will check back in and after the results from your primary in your race in April the 4th. So, God be with you, and God bless you in this race, John.
God bless you.
Semper Fi.
Semper Fi.
Hoorah. Thank you.
Before they burn it down.